Hello, comrades. Today I will speak with Mateusz Piskorski about a very important event which taken place yesterday in Warsaw, in Poland. It was the demonstration of Polish anti-war movement. But before we started, I would like to remind about the two very sad anniversaries. Today, 2nd May, it is 19th anniversary of ban of the trade unions in Third Reich. 2 May 1933, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi party in Germany banned the trade unions in Germany and sent the leaders of trade unions in Germany to prisons and concentration camp. And of course, 2nd May 2014 is also another very sad anniversary of attack to the house of the Soviet Union in Odessa by the Nazis. I don't know. Do you have some comment for this event? Very sad event that the Nazis in Ukraine they choose this 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 date like anniversary of the ban of the trade unions in Third Reich.
I don't know if they have done this consciously or perhaps was kind of similar similar dates, a kind of things which we could call not a conscious political decision. Nevertheless, when it comes to Odessa, as far as I know, today several people from Odessa, regardless of all the repressions, have gathered and have put the flowers in the place of the Odessa tragedy. And it's a good moment to remind everyone that people responsible for the genocide in Odessa, for burning alive more than 40 people in 2014, are still free, and they are not, let's say, charged with anything in contemporary Ukraine. So the problem is that the authorities of Ukraine are not going to find out what really happened, who this atrocity, this crime. So this is the most sad thing about the whole anniversary, I guess. But when it comes to the symbolic dates, of course, you have told a lot of times, and I share your opinion that definitely there are some common points between the Third Reich and the ideology of the Third Reich and the contemporary ideology of certain elements within the Ukrainian political spectrum. I'm not talking about all Ukrainians, I want to stress that, but I'm talking about an aggressive, brutal minority of Ukrainians who are left without any, criminal or uh, another kind of responsibility and can do whatever they want to do there in Ukraine. Unfortunately, this is the reality of contemporary Ukraine. So I'm really glad to hear that that you wanted to remind all our listeners and viewers that today we have this sad anniversary. 9 years ago, this atrocity happened in Russian-speaking city of Odessa. Uh, by the next year, in 1 year, we'll have 10th anniversary of this tragedy. So hopefully, this might be called wishful thinking, but anyway, hopefully, I really hope that things will change in the coming year and that the people who are responsible will be arrested, will be brought to court and punished the way they deserve.
So now let's talk about very very good information about the demonstration which taken place yesterday. Demonstration where you participated. So could you tell us a little bit what uh, this you can see you from yesterday. Could you say something about who organized this demonstration? How many people participated? What was the main slogan? Oh, what
Now,
is this?
very strange thing. I'll start with that. That Poland, which is the country probably mostly endangered by the war there, and by the escalation, did not react. I mean, the Polish society until the 1st of May 2023 showed no signs of reaction against this danger of dragging us into the war. So, for me personally, it was a kind of symbolic event yesterday because for the first time, uh, thousands of people. I would estimate the number of participants you asked me about it for about 2,000 people. So I guess that it was the first time when people gathered uh, as an broke broke anti-war movement. Who organized this demonstration? That's a very good question because I would say that people from different sides of the political spectrum organized the whole thing. The demonstration, the march in the center of Warsaw was registered formally by Henryk Micietin and the Polish left movement. So, left-wing socialist movement. But on the other hand, the people who organized several technical issues there and were the most active, I think, were the members of the Polish anti-war movement, which is somehow associated to the right spectrum of the Polish political scene. So that was very, positive about the whole event. That I think that similar to France, to Germany, to several other countries, to Czech Republic, that people are forgetting about the political differences, even very deep political differences between them. People are forgetting about divisions between them, and people are trying to show altogether that they are against the escalation, against the war, and against dragging of their own country into the war. Because for the moment being, as it should be obvious for everyone, yes, that uh, regardless if you are from the left or from the right, you are equally in danger of this escalation. So, regardless of your opinions on economy, on social policy, on various different issues, there's one issue which is common for all of us, and this issue is the anti-war stance, a protest against dragging of Poland into the war. And as we all know, the Polish political elite, Polish political class, again, regardless if they are calling themselves the right, the conservative, or the left, the social democrats, I mean the parliamentary so-called left, they are supporting the escalation. They are supporting the war. So the most important division now in Poland is not the division between right and left, between liberals or conservatives, between internationalists or nationalists. The most important division now is the division between the anti-war party or anti-war movement and pro-war, warmongering movements and parties which are dominating in our parliament. I would say. And so the mere fact that something which I call personally counter system, some people call it anti-system. I prefer to call it a kind of counter system. but the people from different parts of this counter system gathered in one place, one time, and voiced their opinions. Well, it's very positive, and I'm really impressed that it worked. And I'm also impressed, by another thing. I was talking and shaking hands with one-person forum, but all of our listeners and viewers know about that. But in Poland, we have the so-called long holiday, long May weekend, because it's the 1st of May, we have a day free of work, then on the 3rd of May, and out of that, it comes that a lot of people have at least 1 week free of work. And I think that in the previous years, most of those people just spend their time somewhere, on a short trip or getting with their family, drinking beer, and so on. And this time, I have noticed that on this march, on this demonstration, there were lots of families, wife and husband, some of them even with children, people of very different social backgrounds, representing different social classes. So this was something unbelievable concerning our experience of the Polish political spectrum and Polish political space. And the last very important thing, the last very important thing about the participants, I wanted to tell you is that a lot of those people are not politically active in any kind of political parties, political movement, and so on. These are ordinary people. Most of them, I think that the majority of them were the ordinary people mobilized by the internet, by social media. I mean, lots of people that are watching your channel, your YouTube channel, and they are not active in any kind of political movement. They have just watched your channel, my channel, the channel of our friends which were taking part in the whole match. So that's very important. For the first time, it became possible to mobilize people who are uh, out of politics in their everyday life. I think that also the comrade movement, part of which participated in this march, brought that new quality to the Polish social activism. I mean, bringing the people who are starting to understand that even if they are not interested in politics, even if they don't perceive themselves as political activists, uh, times are so hard that we have to protest. Times are so hard that we are there to voice the opinion of the majority of Polish people who are actually against the war. So that's quite interesting. According to the opinion polls, most of the polls are against the war. On the other hand, we have parliament, which is practically dominated, completely dominated by the war party, regardless the, of the names of different political parties. So this was a protest of a huge social, uh, non-partisan, civic counter system.
Uh, could you say something about this evolution of the Polish society? Because the war in Ukraine started, I don't, 14 months ago, and I have impression that the first month the Polish society was passive or even they supported most of this anti-Russian propaganda in the government media, but also in the corporate media. But do you think that now in Polish society something changed? What do you think about this?
Well, there are two factors of the evolution. I would call it an evolution of public opinion in Poland. It's not that something happened and people radically at a certain moment change their views. It's not the thing. It's not about. It's about the thing that more and more people are first and foremost getting simply fed up and tired of the propaganda, of the mainstream propaganda. So more and more people are, searching in the internet for alternative news, for alternative views and opinions, regardless of the censorship. The second thing is that, as you know, Michał, I represent also the editorial board of Polish weekly newspaper Myśl Polska, Polish Talk, which is under censorship now in Poland. So when more and more Polish people hear that certain internet portals, that certain media are censored, are being censored in our country, I think, well, Michał, you perfectly know the Polish national character, yes? So I think that more and more people are starting to understand that something is wrong here. If they are prohibiting, if they are blocking the access to several websites, if they are blocking the information, if they are using censorship, which could be compared only to authoritarian or even totalitarian regimes, then something is wrong. And people are starting to look at the alternatives. This is also because Polish people don't like to be, humiliated. And censorship is a kind of humiliation because the whole idea of censorship of, is that those who are in power now are deciding what is good and what is wrong for you as an individual. So, on the very individual level, Polish people are starting to, let's say, internally protest, internally object all those practices. And that's quite important. That's the first thing. Second thing is that people have more and more fear about their lives, fear about their future. It's not only the matter, but that's quite important because we have gathered on the first day of May. Of course, as we know, it's International Workers' Day, and I think that at least half of the participants of this demonstration uh, were from the left side of the political spectrum, so they wanted to voice also their concerns about the rights of the working class, of the working people in Poland. But on the other hand, I even asked in my speech, I asked this question publicly. Well, you don't have to worry about, or you have much bigger worries than your job, than your salary, and things like that. If the war will, if the war will start, yes, so regardless of your opinion about the class struggle, about the working class rights and so on, you should gather there because otherwise, in 1 year or so, you won't have any work, you won't have any job because you'll be just dead. That's the danger and that's the risk we are facing now. Yes? So I think that this is also very important for the people to understand, and more people are starting to understand in Poland what the war really is. We have huge mainstream propaganda here in Poland, not only in the news. I'm not watching the news at all. And a lot of Polish people have rejected all this propaganda uh, coming from the mainstream media, from main TV channels, and so on. But there's another very important thing. I think that more and more people are listening to some Polish politicians, to some Polish, let's say, opinion makers, and they are starting to understand that we are going to become part of this war. That some of the people here, as well as some of the people in the Anglo-Saxon countries, which are coordinating the Polish political authorities, as we all know, I mean, the United States, but to a huge extent, I mean, also,
Hello?
and that it becomes that's not a political fiction. This is reality. People are starting to think about it. People are starting to fear about their sons, about their husbands, about their families. And I think that that's the issue. I mean, people in Poland are waking up very slowly. You see that, yes? I mean, remember in Prague, for instance, neighboring country, our Czech friends have organized several demonstrations of that kind. And on every of those demonstrations, although Czech Republic is several times smaller when it comes to population than Poland is, so on every of those demonstrations, you had, 150,000 people there gathered in the Czech capital. So our people, Polish people, are waking up very, very slow. But what happened on the first day of May 2023 is, well, making me quite optimistic because I'm sure that if the warmongering will continue in our country, the next marches, the next anti-war and pro-peace demonstrations will be bigger and bigger, and we'll get several, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of people. So that's what is changing now in Poland, in the public, in the Polish public opinion, of course. Of course, from the point of view of scientism, let's say, we cannot check that because you know what's funny and what's quite interesting. Uh, Most of the opinion polling institutes in Poland simply do not ask Polish people about their opinions on the war there. But there was very important opinion poll about 2 months ago. I don't remember exactly when it was conveyed, but around 2 months. That was a poll which was ordered and paid by Warsaw Enterprise Institute, an American, US-based neoconservative think tank. And can you imagine that 26% of the poll, according to this opinion poll, were ag- uh, against, not only against the war and the engagement of Poland, but also were convinced that this war, 26%, are convinced that this war was Russia by NATO and United States. So we may say that those people are politically conscious. 1/4 of the Polish society. That's a big success in a country which was, for many, many years, some people even tell that for many centuries, a subject of all this anti-Russian propaganda, which was, I would even say, the most Russophobic country in Europe, or one of the most Russophobic countries in Europe, along with Lithuania, Latvia, or Estonia. Right? So that's quite positive. Although I have to stress again, it's an evolutionary process. It's not the thing that millions of Poles woke up and started to understand what is going on around. It's a slow, gradual evolution of the Polish public opinion.
And could you say something about the reaction of the media to your demonstration? For example, now we are seeing the article from the liberal portal Oko Press. They call this demonstration anti-Ukrainian demonstration across the Warsaw. They supported Russia, and the Kremlin is happy. They attacked all the speakers. They attacked you also. So in the mainstream media, in the government media, corporate, they say something about your demonstration, or they try to not I don't know the censor and not spread information.
Not notice the fact. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, yes. I think that for the moment being, they have chosen the second strategy, which means that they are keeping silent about the whole event, about the whole demonstration. Most of the mainstream media did not notice the fact that several thousands of people gathered in the Polish capital on the first day of May. You are showing now small neoliberal media outlets, which are not very significant. And by the way, you are showing an article of one of those grant users. Yes, they got the grants to to find out and to analyze the pro-Russian stances and pro-Russian movements in Poland. So this is the small, I would say, sectarian kind of media, which is living out of grants by some, I don't know by whom, but I might guess that by some institutions close to NATO or close to Atlantic Society, and they are more or less living on that. They are earning money on writing all that bullshit about anti-war movements or the opposition or the real opposition in Poland. So the main media, once again, the main media are preferring to keep total silence about the march, the event. And I think that it's a conscious strategy, which is actually quite effective. But you must remember that we have a lot of social media, so the news about the march, about the demonstration, as well as the news and announcement about the next events which are planned for the coming month are spreading very quickly through social media. So we don't have to care about the mainstream media. We don't have to care about the TV channels because I think that their potential is now over exaggerated. And practically, it's enough if you are present in the social media and if you are spreading your message there, thanks to several independent channels like your channel.
Uh, Okay, my last question is could you say some words to explain the viewers from outside the Poland the politics of Poland now, that why they attacked the Russian children in Warsaw? In last days they closed the school for the Russian children in Warsaw. A few days before they they banned the bank account to the Russian ambassador. Do you think that next week in the 9th of May there will be one more time attack to the Russian ambassador in the Soviet army cemetery when he will go to Flower, and also what will be the other activity in the next weeks, next months of the Polish anti-war movement?
Well, when it comes to those scandals, decisions of Polish authorities against the Russian embassy on the territory of Poland, on the Russian diplomats. Actually, these are the decisions which are quite obviously violating the so-called Vienna Convention, which regulates diplomatic relations between different countries. As all other consular relations between different countries are quite weak Why are they weak? They are weak because you cannot execute them. You cannot bring to any kind of judicial responsibility people who are violating the convention. The Polish authorities perfectly know about that. What can Russia do? What can Russia do? Russia can just give a kind of symmetric diplomatic answer. But as far as I know, there are no Polish schools by the led by the Polish embassy in Russia. So I'm now just wondering what will be the diplomatic answer of the Russians. And that's quite interesting. We still don't know about that. And Russia is still not blocking the accounts of the Polish embassy in war. Because Russia seems to be a country which is more seriously devoted to observe the Vienna Convention and all other international standards than Poland. Poland is a kind of, clown of international in international politics, showing that we can do nothing more than to uh, create some obstacles for Russian diplomatic. When it comes to the possibility of total breakdown of official diplomatic relations between Poland and Russia, I'm still optimistic because I guess that that, as far as I know, and Poland is also not interested to close its embassy in Moscow. So I don't think there will be so serious consequences for that. I know the situation very well because I regularly meet Sergei Andreev, who is the ambassador of Russia in Poland. And when it comes to the 9th of May, well, I have also asked him the question if he is not afraid that he'll be attacked again by some group of aggressive so-called activists, paid activists, as we all know. And he answered me that he really estimates very high the level of professional attack.
Hello?
Against. Now,
Are
can
you
you hear
there?
me? Yes, 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 I'm here. So the ambassador feels safe for the moment being. But I don't know, in Poland you can expect everything, so I don't know what will be happening there on the 9th of May. I can tell you after the 9th of May because I'm going to be there as well. So if you want, we can talk about that. And when it comes to your last question, well, I think that the broad anti-war movement in Poland is now becoming a kind of grassroots movement. We are organizing several meetings. For instance, we as Mish Polska clubs in different police.
Hello?
We are organizing a lot of events. We are gathering people on the local. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, but very
That,
you have very bad connection.
yes, no, no. A phone call has interrupted. Yes, so
Ah,
I'm
okay.
just speaking via mobile phone. So I think that the plan is that in every Polish town, in every Polish city, we'll have meetings with the people there. because grassroots. So that's the plan for the coming month. Local events, local meetings, and well, let's see if the times will become more and more harder, and it's quite probable. We'll perhaps have to change our way of activism because, as you know, there are several projects, drafts of new criminal and penal codex in Poland, talking about the so-called disinformation. So the totalitarian regime is going to put you in jail for voicing your opinion. It is contrary to the opinion of the government, if the law passes through the parliament, of course. But nevertheless, we will be trying to still convey our meetings and meet the people on the local level. We are thinking about building more and more network structures, which are not a political party, but they are just loose network structures gathering people of different political camps, of different political orientations and views, and just creating an area of free speech and of democracy, of a kind of real grassroots democracy in Poland.
So thank you very much. Unfortunately, the connection was very bad, but for all the people who want to know more about the Polish anti-war movement, go to Myśl Polska internet site, YouTube channel, Wbrew Cenzurze, the seat of the Polish anti-war movement, and also there is some relations which you view in YouTube. It's very, very important message that now in Warsaw, the Polish population organized demonstration against this war. It is very, very good news, and I hope that next demonstration will be only bigger and bigger, and the Polish involvement in this war will stop. So thank you very much, Mateusz.
Thank you very much, and all the best for our viewers and listeners.